this is about you, and it's about us and how we support you as associations and support your members, your players, your coaches within those associations. One of the biggest things that I've found since coming in to my role as technical director initially was just on the men's and boys side, but now actually being the technical director for Football New South Wales, it's just how vast and how big we are as a state. And then when we actually go into some of those associations, likewise, just how big and vast they are themselves and how quickly and how rapidly they're actually growing as well. So if we look across all of these associations doing some fantastic work within their own footprint, and certainly in the last 2 years with the challenges that have been presented, where we've actually seen ourselves in terms of a pandemic, but to actually work together for the betterment of football has been something that's been really encouraging and something that we want to try to build upon. It's a huge opportunity for us to engage with the associations and use it as an opportunity for Football New South Wales to act as a support mechanism to the associations to help them to be able to grow from within. So this is our why, and this is something that we've talked to in depth over many a conversation. And again, it's incredibly important when we talk to or speak to everybody in their own space that we're able to provide clarity, not just provide clarity, but provide transparency as well. And the real why for us is to increase female opportunities for female coaches. Once we increase those opportunities for female coaches, then how do we develop those coaches? And then, like I said before, how do we actually retain them? I spoke last week on another workshop where I mentioned that the door is open, but unfortunately, the door at the other end is also open as well. And we seem to lose a lot of coaches, and that might be for various reasons. But in particular, when it comes to female coaches, what's the support that we can actually provide them, not just through the formal setting where it's the 10% of going through a course, and that might be an advanced course to C, B, or an A license, but what are we doing at all levels of the game, at community all the way through, and providing opportunities for these coaches to be able to grow themselves and gain in confidence and be around a network and a group where they have the opportunity to develop themselves, but be or feel as though they're in a safe environment. So that's why we've really worked hard to pull this project together to actually create that support, really ensuring that we have that inclusive approach to the program. And that will hopefully, because we are a collaborative, because we are empowering, that's going to increase that participation, and it's going to hook more female coaches in and want to be a part of something that's very special. So going through the project itself, we went through some staggering numbers, in fact, in terms of currently how do female coaches from a representation point of view size up to the male coaches within each of the associations, and you can actually see there that the numbers are quite staggering in terms of potentially, well, they're edging up and they're getting there slowly, but how do we actually start to get there a little bit quicker with the support networks that we put in place? And then what we found is that the map that you can actually see in front of you now is just in relation to the metropolitan areas. And if you go into the regional areas, you can actually see that the participation or the numbers for the females in relation to the male actually go up, and everything's relative. Obviously, that can be dependent on the size of the association. It can be dependent on how many players are actually registered, both players and coaches within the association as well. But it can also lend itself to the types of environments that each of the associations are providing as well, and how many touch points there are, how many opportunities there are for female coaches to be able to connect within their own footprint, to have that support, both from an association level, but also from a Football New South Wales level. And when I talked to the earlier slides about the formal, the 10%, we want to be in a position where potentially we start to put a support program around the pre-course and then the post-course as well. And even during courses, how can we link those coaches to other coaches and slowly but surely start to grow that network of female coaches? So what I'd like to do now, I'd like to first of all pass you over to Ailey. Ailey's going to talk through a case study, and then we'll also have Julia as well. So Ailey, if you would like to begin with yours and take it forward, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Warren. Evening, everyone. Nice to see some familiar faces and some new names, new faces on the call. So thank you so much for attending tonight. To introduce you, I'm Ailey Mackay. I'm chair of the Women's Standing Committee currently, and I work for NSW Northern Tigers and have done for, dare I say it, last 5 years. So I guess I was part of the Women's Standing Committee the previous term as a member. And I guess when it came to the end of the term, I was kind of tossing up the idea of to go back on, should I, shouldn't I? And I guess I was convinced. And I guess we came in, myself, and I was chatting to Catherine in terms of changing how this committee works and how we have these types of conversations. So moving to a more proactive space, rather than reacting to problems. Actually, let's look at the landscape and where's areas that we can be better at, and how can we connect the football community and have a thriving, I guess, ecosystem. And I guess the good news about that is when you're thinking about football, the conversation is very much far more equal in regards to community football and representative football, because you can't have one without the other. And the culture and what we wanted to create was collaboration and recognizing that we're stronger together. And rather than, I guess, us working in silos and against each other, can we connect and then can we actually take the sport in this country to the level that it rightly should be. So I guess to go back, because this has been a 2-year kind of project to 18 months, so to speak, to get to where we are now. What I kind of started was with the members was, yes, we're all passionate about female football, but what's your focus areas? And I guess the committee members come up with their focus areas. And we started sharing. And I guess this is the kind of the examples I want to give you tonight in terms of those first initial meetings when this project was getting established. And I guess from NSFA, I shared a case study on our youth coach development program. So that's a skill training course, but we target at 15 to 22-year-olds. And in 6 courses over a 2-year period, we had 37% female coach representation. So not only were we reducing the barrier for females to get onto the course by running a youth coach development program, they were actually engaged and confident, and then went on back to their club to start coaching. So that's one of the case studies that I shared from, I guess, our footprint. And then I also shared our female coach mentoring program. So that was offering support to our community clubs to help encourage, attract, retain and develop female coaches. We work with 12 NSFA clubs, Accelerate and Northern Tigers, and we have 39 female coaches. So I kind of shared the why, the what, the how with the Women's Standing Committee group. And Catherine Keneally did the same with how she built up SD Raiders and developed those female coaches within her program, and the mentoring that she provided. And she provided a case study. And I guess the example, and I'm going to pass it on, is the power of that collaboration, for being in that room, for talking about football, by sharing ideas. You empower, and I guess you bring more people along for the journey. So I'm going to pass you over to Julia now, who's a fellow Women's Standing Committee member, to share her experience of where we went from there. Over to you, Julia.
Thanks, Ailey. Hi, everyone. Some familiar faces, and again, some new ones I've not met before, and hopefully we can meet in the future face to face and collaborate. Look, extremely lucky to have you guys here tonight. It is extremely exciting that we are here. It is 18 months in the making. My background personally, so originally my journey began in the Eastern Suburbs Football Association, with a club called Paju Botany Football Club, where I started coaching when I was 19 years old. And I currently hold a position also at Camden Tigers Football Club. So I guess I've had a pretty long coaching journey. So when jumping onto this committee, I was in a room full of people whom I thought, wow, how did I end up here, to be honest? But it was extremely empowering, listening to case studies, and when we hit this project, I sort of said, you know what, why don't we run, I guess, a pilot? Why don't we run something in the eastern suburbs where I can see we've got the people, the resources, and we've also got some leadership in the female space, which is quite amazing, and probably not many people know about. So how can I empower the people around me already who are there, who I talk to on a regular basis, to empower more people on the ground in their own environments? So I guess the process began of us putting together, so myself and two other mates, I call them mates, two fellow coaches in the eastern suburbs who are in the advanced category, and also our TD, Jamie Gomez. Jamie's on the call. Absolutely jumped onto the opportunity, and we began just documenting what we're doing. We came up with a plan, you know, got the clubs involved. Absolutely fantastic response to what we had to propose, because, you know, most clubs are looking for that support network, and coming from, you know, an association, it is quite empowering. You know, they jump at the opportunity. You know, we had 50 names put forward by clubs, and we currently have 23 of us engaged in a group. We planned out a calendar, and to be honest, you know, it isn't as hard a work when you have, it's all about people, right? So I guess what's inspiring and from the group that we're in and the football standing committee is you just need the people to want to make those changes, to be involved in such a program. So the case study is, you know, it's all documented, and what we're, I guess, offering and presenting to you tonight is support in a way where we've come up with how you can set up these programs. There are, you know, survey templates, there's email templates, and we actually used the process of setting up the Eastern Suburbs Football Female Coach Development Program to set up these Football New South Wales networks across the whole state. So as much as it probably sounds daunting to some of you, it isn't actually hard work if, you know, you have the backing, and that's who you've got tonight. You've got, you know, a group of us, and we're backed by the Women's Standing Committee, who want to truly help you collaborate and inspire those females on the ground. Again, I could go on about the group we created and how amazing it's been, but look, to be able to empower women in the eastern suburbs to connect, you know, to have those regular support chats every 5, 6, 7 weeks, it has been pretty, you know, transformational for our area. And I'm pretty comfortable to say that, you know, it is really something that might change your landscape. It does change things on the ground, to do with, you know, player retention, you know, increase in players, you know, especially in the female space, if you've got a really strong collaborative and, you know, empowered group working for you. Warren, hand it over back to you to present, I guess, the general aim. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And again, this was something when I came in and stepped into the role of technical director back in January, and started to engage with these types of meetings and listen to these types of stories and understand what was actually happening in the coalface, what happens where the rubber hits the road. And it's extraordinary. And one of the things I said at the time, and one of those very first meetings that I actually had, is don't underestimate what you're actually doing right now and the power that you have. The work that's being done is absolutely tremendous. And I think we don't do it justice when we don't showcase it enough. We don't celebrate it enough. And it's something that we have to do, is to start to celebrate what the associations are doing. And in this particular case, for female coaches, attracting those female coaches, developing them within their own footprint, like I talked to before, providing opportunities that are easy, accessible. And I guess what a pandemic has taught us, if anything, is that the power of online workshops and opportunities as well. And certainly our aim here is to try and increase those numbers and take that sky blue and bring it around and get it closer to the dark blue with this particular project. So these are some of the target areas that we want to work on. These are the things that we've tried to highlight as how we're going to get to that 23% female participation increase by that 23. Is it a lofty goal? 100%. Is it something that's achievable? 100%. And I think if you go back to the slide previously and it shows geographically where the associations are sat and the percentage of numbers right now, there's some associations that'll be getting really close to this mark already, which is absolutely tremendous. There are also some of these associations, especially in regional areas, that have already hit this mark, surpassed this mark, and actually they are way ahead of the game. But overall, with New South Wales and where we're currently at, that's the aim for us. And if you look to the left side of this slide in particular, 2018 through to 2021, it has been quite similar in terms of that representation, and that's the shift we really want to make. And with the World Cup, again, I said this last week, with the World Cup arriving on our shores, here's a huge opportunity not to just do something as a tick a box exercise, but to actually do something that's really meaningful, and like I say, start to lean on what's already being done, showcasing what's already being done, empowering, and like I say, being really inclusive and getting everyone on board and taking them along the journey to increase this representation. And like I said before, I think it's something that we certainly can do, but we'll have to do it together. It has to be a collaborative approach to this. It's not something that Football New South Wales wants to take the lead on. It's something where we want to work in with the associations to be inclusive and have that collaborative approach that we talk to. Ailey, I'll pass back to you.
Thanks, Warren. So I hope that gives you, I guess, an insight in regards to where we've come to I guess, to this point. And I guess the power of collaboration. And I guess I've been very fortunate. I've seen it firsthand within my community at NSFA and how it's helped us achieve our goals. But then I've also seen it within the Women's Standing Committee and how those members, from having this information, from collaborating, are empowered, and they're going back to their footprint. And that's brilliant, but that's only still part of the representation. It's how can we take it to the next level and engage the entire state, and that's all of you guys as leaders in your footprint, and how can we work together to support you, like Julia said, to put these programs in place so you can attract, you can develop and retain female coaches within your association. So I guess we're here to support the Women's Standing Committee, Football New South Wales. We want to help. We want to share what we've done, and I guess we want to create that collaboration. I know we had an association, Hayley ran an association working group previously before she went back on maternity leave. I know that'll probably be one of the first things that she does when she comes back, to further collaborate more than female coaches. But in terms of female coaches, I guess we are kind of here to help you, and whether that's a phone conversation, whether that's your introduction workshop, speak to Julia, because she's taken, I guess, the information and ran with it in Eastern Suburbs. So we've kind of done it in a few associations, and I guess we want to see it in all the other associations, so we can start to change what football looks like, and really challenge that 13% representation, because it's just not good enough for where we're at now. And community is the start, like a player's start to their journey. It's the same for coaches, and that's where we build up the depth to then move them up the pathway for those that are keen. So we are, I guess, here to support you guys, and I guess if you guys have any questions to jump on and ask, otherwise I'll pass it back over to Sam.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ailey. So as the guys have already mentioned, I'm just going to run through with you essentially the process and how this will look. So as Ailey and Julia have both said, the big key here is collaboration. So, us as Football New South Wales are looking to create that joint strategy with you guys to create a female coach development program that will work and that will benefit your own association, your own environment. So association TDs and coordinators to then create mentorship groups to work with your own clubs. Again, You know your associations better than anyone, and that's why, again, it is very much a collaborative approach. Associations to develop their own identification, incentive, and retention programs. Clubs to then work with the associations on these programs. Associations to recommend coaches to join the Football New South Wales Community Female Coaches Network. So key there is that it comes off recommendations from the associations. Once those coaches have been identified, they'll receive a survey link that will be sent to them. And then once they complete that, they'll be able to be a part of the Football New South Wales Community Female Coaches Network. So again, to sum it all up, it is very much about collaboration and making sure that this program best fits your environment and your association.